2. Welcome back to DFS Rebels for the Sunday slate of Week 13 games. It's your boy Dante, back at it again with the legend himself, Mr. Rob, as we're sharing some of our favorite picks along with a couple of sleepers to help you make those difficult lineup decisions and, of course, fill up those pockets. So, with that being said, it is time to join the rebellion.
That's right. That's right, Mr. Dante, and we're going straight into quarterbacks. I only have two quarterbacks I'm playing this weekend, only two quarterbacks. Number one on my list is Justin Fields because we all know we can run all over Green Bay, and Justin Fields has been running his ass off. There's no reason he's not going to run 150, 200 yards all over Green Bay tomorrow. And then there's my second favorite quarterback on the slate, Kenny Pickett. He is my absolute favorite value play in terms of value and ownership. I absolutely love his upside here on a GPP. He's risky, but he's going up against the 29th ranked pass defense of the Falcons. I think he's going to have his best game of the season. And, you could pair him up with anybody. Pat Fryermuth, Deontay Johnson, or my personal favorite for tomorrow, George Pickens. I think it's a field day. And if you're picking Pickett and like George Pickens, it just opens up so much more to your lineup that you can make for tomorrow. Which quarterbacks are you aiming at?
So I just want to go based off of the two quarterbacks that you just brought up. I didn't have any of them written down in my notes here, but I do see what you're going. I do like both of them, especially the Fields play. He's back, he's healthy. But in terms of Fields, I like one of his targets, the tight end Cole Kmet, and that's solely because of the reason that Fields is back. Because Kmet has emerged as the top receiving option on the Bears. Fields loves them. Fields loves them. The red zone targets him heavily in the red zone, so he is going to be hard to pass up. He's only 3,800 DraftKings salary. He's one of the cheapest playable tight ends on the slate. So I am all over Cole Kmet tomorrow since Fields is playing. And also in terms of Kenny Pickett, I also do like George Pickens. He has been the most consistent receiving option as of late, and he's really been consistently hitting value or close to it ever since the Chase Claypool trade. Now, as for two quarterbacks of my own that I like Justin Herbert. Now, he is 7,200, so he's one of the more expensive quarterbacks on the slate, but he is matched up against a Raiders defense who's ranked 30th against opposing quarterbacks, and the Raiders have also allowed the second most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. They've given up an average 20.95 fantasy points per game to those opposing quarterbacks. So I expect Herbert to have another great week, just like he did against the Cardinals last week. And I do like stacking him up with either Keenan Allen or Josh Palmer, especially at Josh Palmer play since Mike Williams has already been ruled out. And my other quarterback that I like a lot is the extremely low owned, surprisingly, considering history, is Aaron Rodgers. I know Aaron Rodgers hasn't had the best year this year, but he is playing against the Bears. And one thing that's always consistent in Aaron Rodgers' career, no matter what kind of season he's having, is how he owns the Bears. So I'm expecting more of that tomorrow. He's only 5,800. He's cheap. He's low owned. I am all over Rodgers tomorrow. I like it with Aaron Jones, but I expect to have a nice day tomorrow because the Bears have no defense. And I also like Christian Watson, who's really been emerging as that number one receiver that the Packers thought they drafted. He's very talented. Watson's been an absolute tear recently, so I'm definitely stacking up with Rodgers. Watson, Rodgers are both cheap. They'll both save you money to spend elsewhere in your lineup. What do you think of them, Rob?
I love that. I do like that. I was looking at Herbert. He was in my player pool, but I took him out last minute just because I just wanted to just limit my quarterbacks this week. Maybe I'll throw one in just for you though. But moving on to running backs, I have oh my god, there's so many juicy running backs this week. You got Nick Chubb, which has the best offensive line in the NFL, going against the worst run defense in the NFL. And Chubb is also slated to be low owned. I think they're going to ease Watson back in, and which means they're going to rely on Chubb. They're going to lean on him, and I think he's going to have a field day to break the slate. He is locked in like 95% of all my lineups. Another one I'm incredibly high on is Josh Jacobs. If you're using Justin Herbert, there's no reason not to run it back with Josh Jacobs. I don't worry about that questionable tag. He had that questionable tag on last week, and look what happened. I think that tag is because they have to put something on him when he's not practicing. I think they're just giving him best days because they gave him 39 carries. The man was an absolute monster. And I was thinking maybe they'll go easy on him this week, but he had a couple of days rest. And tomorrow's a must-win game against the rivals, the Chargers. It's a must-win game, so I think he's going to have 35 carries again. I don't see why he won't. And with a lot of people that I'm paying down for, there's no reason I can't get Chubb and Josh Jacobs in my lineup together, which is just going to be so much fantasy production for my running backs. If you're also looking elsewhere, you want to go a little more cheaper, a little risky, you can look at Zonovan Knight. Zonovan Bam Knight. He looked apart last week. When Michael Carter out, he's worthy of a punt play in GPP lineups. He might not get all the touches, but if he gets enough and makes do with them, then he's enough to get you the value that he needs. You can also obviously look at David Montgomery because, like I just said, Green Bay can't stop the run. Which running backs are you really looking forward to? I'm also looking at the Joe Mixon, but I need to pay attention if he's in and out. If he's out, then P. Ryan's definitely in. You know, it's
Yeah, no,
tough.
I believe Joe Mixon will be game time decision tomorrow, so I would fade him just for tomorrow only because you'll have to be really on top of that to actually know if he's playing or not. Now, obviously, if you can find out sooner that he's definitely playing, I think Joe Mixon will be a great play tomorrow. But the two running backs I have written down here are two guys you already brought up. Obviously, Josh Jacobs, he's an absolute no-brainer in my opinion. There's no reason why you should not be starting him. I know he's high owned. I know he's getting more expensive, but that's for good reason. This man is just an absolute stud. At least he was last week, and I think he'll have a similar performance again this week. The Chargers defense has really struggled against the run all year, and I think Jacobs will run all over them tomorrow because, as you said, that it's a must-win game for the Raiders tomorrow if they want any chance at the playoffs. And I think they'll be heavily using Jacobs. Jacobs could take the carries, so I expect a huge day out of Jacobs tomorrow. And my other running back is David Montgomery. He's cheaper. He's only 6,200, and I think he'll run all over the Packers defense. And I think you'll see a bulk of the Bears carries because Khalil Herbert is on the IR. So that really should get Montgomery uh, a good chunk of the offensive game plan tomorrow, even with Fields being back. And Fields will run it a lot himself as well.
Yep, no, I agree. I absolutely agree. Moving on to some receivers. I'm gonna go some cheap receivers here that maybe no one's talking about, maybe no one's thinking about. But right off the bat, I'm gonna talk about Sky Moore. I like him. He's a little inconsistent and random with the snap counts, but the Chiefs are one of the most explosive offenses you could be on. It seems like when he does run routes, he gets targeted at a significant clip. Having said that, Juju is finally back at 100% health, so I don't trust Sky Moore as much, but he's worth a shot in deep GPPs. But my favorite punt play tomorrow is Trent Sheffield. Trent Sheffield, he runs well over 25 routes per game. He takes most of his jumps and his targets when he's facing cover 4 and cover 3 zone coverage. And guess what? The 49ers run both of those. So I don't see why there's no upside with Trent at his price where he can't hit value easily. And he's at like 0%. There might be like, it might get up to 0.5% tomorrow of people playing him. He could be the difference between you winning just double your money or a couple of $1,000 if he just catches 5 catches on DK. There's 5 catches, a few yards. That's like 8 points right there. That's easy for his value. And paying down for him at his price means you could do anything else for your lineup, paying up for those studs at running backs I just talked about. Trent Field is a lock for me in 90%, 95% of my lines, just like Chubb is. I can't get away from him, and I've been trying to talk you into him all night. Besides for him, everybody's on Christian Kirk, and I don't see why not. The Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk tomorrow, they've been on a tear. Why not? But I'm kind of off him a little bit, and I want to go to Detroit Lions defense there. Just get a little different from the pack. What receivers do you like?
So the Lions defense is interesting. I just I mean, they've been looking better as of late. They moved to first force a couple of turnovers here and there, and since they are cheap, they'll be right next to value already if they could first force one turnover against the Jaguars. But in terms of wide receivers that I really do like, obviously Christian Kirk, that's an obvious one. I know everybody's on him, so I'm not going to go much into talking about him. But another, like, my sneaky play of the week is Elijah Moore of the Jets. This man is only 3,700 in DraftKings salary, and he has a very low ownership. And with Mike White starting, Elijah Moore is a very valid target in the Jets offense. So, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that Mike White's gonna explode onto the scene like he did last week against the Bears, because obviously the Vikings defense is a lot tougher. But I kind of still think Mike White will hold his own. I think Garrett Wilson, who everybody's on, by the way, will see a good chunk of that Jets offense tomorrow. But also, I think Elijah Moore will, and nobody's on Elijah Moore. He's dirt cheap. He'll he'll save you plenty of money to build around your lineup. So I really do like Elijah Moore tomorrow. And going back to that Bengals Chiefs game, I do like Jamar Chase a lot. He's back. I know he hasn't played in a couple of weeks, but come on, guys, it's Jamar Chase. He's one of the top receivers in the NFL. So I expect him to be involved early and often. The Chiefs, they're ranked 32nd against opposing wide receivers. So I'm expecting a huge return for Chase tomorrow. And if you kind of want to go a little different too, if you kind of want to be a little sneaky, you can definitely go T. Higgins. And I still think he'll see a good amount of the game plan as well. But tomorrow, for me, it's Jamar Chase Day in that Bengals Chiefs game.
Hey, I love that. I love that. But you're right. Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, the Vikings secondary is in shambles. So I don't see why they both can't eat them all if Mike White can continue his on fire ability. A couple more people that I do like. AJ Brown. You can go with the revenge game narrative if you want, but I'm more open to the fact that they run a funnel defense that runs like a lot of cover one and cover three defense, and that's where AJ Brown absolutely smashes. So that's like a free square for me. Amar St. Brown is likely to be the highest owned receiver on the slate, but I have no issues running him against the Jacksonville defense, so I can run him out confidently. Yeah, those you can also take a free square in cash games with Nico Collins with Brandon Cooks out. I don't love it, but I get it. He should be high owned and get his targets. That's pretty much the other receivers I like. I like Claypool. I like I always mess this guy's name. Oh man, it's like Olamide Zacharias from Falcons. He's a cheap little play. I like him. Kristen Kirk, Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer will probably get in the end zone tomorrow, probably twice against my Raiders. Unfortunately, Devontae Adams. He's ridiculously cheap on FanDuel for some reason. For an elite play, he must be locked in on all FanDuel lineups. That's pretty much all I have for receivers, but I love the tight ends today. I like Travis Kelce, obviously. Mark Andrews. There's not much to say about them. I'm all over first in row with Waller out. He's beginning the production, and at his price, he's a solid lock for me. I also like Pat Frymouth. He's way too cheap, and he's likely my favorite cash game play. Atlanta plays a ton of cover three coverage, and that's where Pat Frymouth just has a field day. That's my tight ends. What any more receivers or tight ends you like?
Well, yeah, I told you about my tight end briefly, Cole Kmet, just because I like him because Fields is back. He's really the only tight end I had written down here, but obviously got the guys that are obvious plays. Kelsey, if you have the money, you can even try Andrews too, because I think Andrews is still always a good play. I know Lamar hasn't really looked like Lamar recently, but still can't go wrong with Andrews. And I do like that Foster Moreau pick as well. Now, just to go back to wide receivers real quick, I know you mentioned him before. AJ Brown, stop trying to downplay the revenge game narrative. I think tomorrow he's fully going in for a revenge game. And the reason why I say that is because he's been trolling the Titans for trading him. So tomorrow he's going to show them on the field that it was a huge mistake to trade him. So, I think that will probably be he probably has the most revenge game mindset out of anybody did all season, in my opinion. So I really do like AJ Brown actually tomorrow. He's going to be a great start. And yeah, now as for my defense, real quick, I'm all over the Seattle Seahawks defense. They're not even the most expensive defense on the slate. They're only 3,600 DraftKings salary, and they're matched up against the 32nd ranked Rams. And the Rams, they're without the top three players in offense tomorrow. No Matthew Stafford, no Cooper Kupp, no Allen Robinson. So for me, just like almost Josh Jacobs in lineups, this should be no brainer. At defense, if you have the extra money, definitely go to Seahawks defense.
Absolutely agree with you. Seahawks is my number one. I also love the Lions tomorrow, and then the other one I do like the Cleveland defense against Houston. Davis Cooks is out. Davis Mills benched. Might as well take a shot at the Cleveland defense. But yeah, do you want to take us home?
Yeah, so that'll conclude this week's episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for sticking around, giving us support, watching our or listening to our podcast. You know, we greatly appreciate it. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe to us, donate to our Patreon. You get a lot of great content down there. Even just like our videos, we really appreciate the support. And time to win big tomorrow. Good luck to everybody, and it's time to join the rebellion.